Hi, I'm Angela Jones, your host of A Brighter Day in the Neighborhood, and I'm going to invite you now to welcome with me Lonie Savage. Hi, Lonie.
Hello.
It's so great to have you here in town and able to join us for a staff spotlight on the program.
It's quite an honor, and I am thankful to be here.
I'm thankful to have you here. It's so fun, with our staff being, so many of you being, fully remote. We do this, annual retreat once a year where we bring folks in, and, it's always so neat. I think one of the funniest things of it all is we get to see in terms of height, like who's tall, who's short, and all this, and almost everybody's been like, you're taller than I thought.
Well, I'm pretty sure that I'm one of the shortest ones.
Are you?
Oh, yeah, I think the L's are about the shortest ones in the
So
firm.
what height are you?
5'1" and a quarter.
And a quarter.
Yeah, I'm throwing the quarter
push
in.
it up there.
Yeah.
I mean, don't let anybody take that from you, right?
Right.
So I know you are one of our senior paralegals in a legal pod, and working with our managing attorney in the Colorado office, and so help our listeners out by sort of like letting them know what put you, not put you, but why it is that you have committed yourself, to develop your professional skills to the point that you're able to serve our firm in that way.
Well, actually, I came to family law by working. I worked in a little backstory. I worked for a sports agency.
Oh, wow.
And within that sports agency, we had general counsel who advised the agents there as well. And I did a little bit of work for him. He also did probate and tax law. So when that firm dissolved, I continued to work for that attorney, the general counsel attorney, who coincidentally is also the father of Lance Berkman, who was one of the big baseball players for the Houston Astros, because I'm from Texas.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah. So at some point during my marriage, I needed to find a divorce attorney, and he had referred me to this firm. And while I did not file for divorce at that time, I did end up working for the law firm.
Oh, wow.
So that was my very first step into family law as a paralegal. No idea about any of it. And literally went home and cried every night because I felt so far in over my head. And it was kind of one of those pity parties for a few minutes, and then broke out the family law book.
Right.
And started reading all the pleadings and just everything so I could learn it and not have that anxiety of not knowing what I was doing.
Right.
But in that process, I also learned, because I interacted a lot with the clients. We did a lot of interaction with the clients, probably the bulk of it. The attorneys did all the head work and being in court, but we had to learn the client, learn the evidence, learn the case. And in doing that, it just really was an eye-opening moment for me, because as I went through that process, it was like, oh my gosh, I go through that in my marriage. Oh, I wasn't the only one who experienced that. You experienced that? And so there was a lot of connection in there. And it made me want to just help more people and let them know, like me, that you weren't the only one experiencing that in your marriage.
Right. And how many years have you been doing the family law?
Since 2010, so I'm going on
12 years.
12 years.
Wow, that's a good long time. So you did eventually get past the being overwhelmed and crying every night.
I did. And I actually even went on to becoming board certified in Texas as a family law paralegal.
Right.
Yeah.
That's interesting. A lot of times people, I started off in commercial and business law, coming out of law school. I went to law school thinking I was going to go and, do public administration, public interest work, things of that nature. But a lot of times people will say that to me, like, I'm not sure how you do this, like how you do this type of work. I could never do this type of work. And I think it takes a unique makeup almost, but definitely it's a calling to be able to, join people in those places in their lives, and to be able to understand what they're going through and kind of like get that big picture view, and to empathize with them without getting sort of sucked in.
Right.
And I think that is really if there is a trick to it. I have my best friend's mom, Susie, used to always tell me, Angie, there's a trick to everything.
Yeah.
She taught me, and this is a good tip for anybody who doesn't know it. Open the shower curtain fully after you take a shower. Because then I grew up in Florida. That way you don't get the, the mold and whatever mildew
Oh, yeah.
that grows on the bottom of the shower curtain. Now you live in Alabama, so you've got that humidity issue.
Yes.
So this is news you can use, right? Open the shower curtain and leave it open, and you'll never have to, you won't have to change the liner out, month after month, because it'll drip dry. Whereas if you leave it open, it will. But she always told me that there's just a trick to everything, and I think that is the trick, if there is one, in work and family law cases, is to be able to come in shoulder to shoulder and bring that perspective of, yes, this hurts. Yes, this is, it's not good. There's almost never anything good going on in a family law case from just an objective standpoint, but this is temporary, and there are solutions, and there is a new day coming, and because we have that perspective, because we've committed ourselves to working with people in those positions, we've seen it over and over and over again, which helps. I don't know about for you, I haven't really had to struggle very much with sort of being like, oh, this is an old hat. I've never had to worry about that. Has that ever been an issue for you?
Not really.
No?
Not so much.
Because I've seen sometimes that ends up happening where people become a little jaded in.
Yeah, no, I don't think it's happened so much to me. I think I just try to make sure to connect with, the client, and let them know that it's tough. There is a brighter day.
Yeah.
And it's not today, and it's not tomorrow.
Right.
But it comes.
Yeah.
And just kind of, I try not to. I know it wears you down in this business. I know it does. It's the belly of the beast is what I call it. What do you do? I work in the belly of the beast.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and like I said, it's like, I don't know. I think for me, sometimes it's the toughest part is wanting to be able to provide immediate relief to pain. And that's just not what the legal system is designed for. And I hate to have had to say it, but I've had to say it more than one time, is like, here's the thing. I didn't create this system. Yeah, I'm just helping you to navigate the system. And, that being said, we're judicial officers, and then so we're part of the system. And then, and in that way, I feel, at least somewhat responsible for being a part of the problem sometimes. But, we all do have to sort out, like, here's what I can control. Here's what I can't control. So we accept those things we, can't control, and we do what we can about the things that we can.
And it's tough. And I have to remember, because there are times where you just really see a bad thing happen to somebody good. And it's a system. It is the system.
It is.
And you can't do anything about it. But then you have those little golden nuggets every now and then.
Yeah.
When something works really well, or a child is saved, or a wife is out of a really bad marriage. And it's those moments where a client who's just so thankful, because they've been able to move past this horrific life that they've known for the last several years with their kids. And it's those little moments that kind of remind me why I do what I do and keep me going in it.
Well, and I think even in cases where people have just decided that they don't want to live a life of suck, like you have this one life, and if you've gotten to a point where it's just like, I can't be my best me if this situation doesn't change. And, if they are brave enough and strong enough to step into, like, hey, this new thing, I want to do this differently. And sometimes it's sad for the other spouse, maybe if they're not in that same place. But, it's kind of like, and I have this theory just in general, I don't want to compel anybody to be in a relationship with me. I don't want to compel anybody to work at this law firm who doesn't want to be here. I want everyone to be able to live their best life, be the best version of themselves. And that's another way that even if it's not, deliverance from abuse or horror or what have you, I think people, it's really okay if they want to step into their happily ever after divorce.
Yeah.
And I'm kind of borrowing that tagline, from a friend of mine who is a Atlanta attorney. But I thought that was just really, to have that happily ever after is, very, very important. And I love that we get to be a part of that in those, instances. But, also in other areas, of, helping grandparents and dealing with their kids, and now, adoptions and probates that we're getting into. So, well, we're almost out of time, which is, see, the time just flies with these kind of things. But I want to find out about your transition from Texas to Alabama, because people don't realize that Texas and the South are not the same.
No. They're not. It's different. Actually, it is very different, but they have a lot of the same similarities. So for Alabama,
yeah, we all barely speak English.
It's really good. I will say this for Alabama, people are super sweet.
Mm-hmm.
It is just a country of its own. I'm just going to put it that way. But it's really good. I mean, they're very nice, aside from being in Texas where everybody is just very bold and know everything. And
well, I'll just tell you, regardless of if you're in Alabama or Texas, you got to have a fiddle in the band, right? So, well, thank you so much, Lonie, for joining us. And I'm just so happy to have you with us at Brighter Day.
You have been a lifesaver for me. You may not know that, but you have, because you really did bring my love back for family law, because I did. It gets a little harsh and hard, and the clients make it tough, and the law makes it tough, and sometimes, coworkers make it tough. And I really was kind of, tipping the line there, but thank you, because it reminded me what I really love to do.
Oh, I'm so glad. I'm so glad to hear that.
Thank you.
And thank you for joining us for another episode of A Brighter Day in the Neighborhood. Until the next time, have a brighter day.